Hello, everyone. On this week's episode of The Men Are Talking, we discuss vacations. Good, bad. Which ones turned out like you planned? Which ones turned out a little more National Lampoon? So, let's jump right into The Men Are Talking. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Men Are Talking. This week, we are going to be talking about vacations. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, all of the above. So, joining me this week is UPC,
Hello.
Bill,
Hey guys.
Will,
Hello.
and Ferg.
What's up?
Paul is unfortunately under the weather, and no, he's not a little drunk. So,
Well, he's a little.
But he is
He's a
under
little.
He is-
the weather.
he is-
He's
a little-
just a little sick this week.
He is
he's
under
little-
the weather.
well, that's
And
a
a
little
drunk.
under the weather.
yeah. Well,
Weather.
yeah. You have to be over 5 feet to be over the weather.
How about over Macho Grande?
I'll never
love
be
it.
over Macho Grande. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and start if no one has any objections.
And you are.
I am Larry. All right. So, I'm going to start with first round. We're going to do most memorable vacations. Going most, not memorable, but when you were a kid.
Childhood.
Yeah, we're going for childhood vacation, but something that, is memorable. Something that for some reason, you may not even remember all of the vacation, but it sticks out. So mine, hey, look, we're watching World Cup, says USA versus Netherlands. Mine was when we lived in Germany, and we actually went on vacation to the Netherlands. And outside of Amsterdam, and I'm sure UPC can help me out with this one, there is actually a place you can go that has a miniature version of Amsterdam that has
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam.
It's called Rails Mini World in Rotterdam.
Yes, and it's got a small version of Rotterdam, including boats that are moving through the canals. But the thing I remember as a kid was one of the boats actually catches on fire, and 2 fire boats come out and put it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I missed that when I was in Rotterdam.
Yeah,
It's basically like model railroad, like in-scale model railroad
Yeah.
on crack.
yeah.
I thought you were going to say, like, Paul-size prostitutes.
There probably were those.
Yeah, it's
Not
got the
using the word much.
Beetlejuice
No,
red light
no.
district.
Yeah. I'm pretty. I don't. I mean, I was a kid, so I didn't really check out to see if Rotterdam has a vibrant red light district like Amsterdam. So I'm not sure if that was part of it, but yeah, that was. It sticks with me, and like I said, that one moment where boat catches on fire, and all of a sudden, all these fire boats come out and put it out.
How big are these boats? I mean,
Uh,
foot long.
maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just so cool.
Like, you know what a
But-
foot long is.
Ha ha ha! $5.
Actually, that is why.
Actually, I think they're $6 now.
At participating locations.
Yeah.
We already covered that.
Okay. Well, sorry, I've been out a couple of weeks. So next, we're gonna go to Will.
Oh shit. Summer vacations in the back of a station wagon, when you're looking out the back and holding up signs saying "Help! I've been kidnapped," and having the cops pull over my parents and say, "What's up with that sign?" Or just flipping off people. But I think one of the funnest one was my dad lived in Virginia. We went to King's Dominion. After seeing the movie Roller Coaster, which is a disaster movie where this guy blows up a section of the roller coaster after it starts, so when the roller coaster cars get there, they go flying off into the crowd. So we went to the King's Dominion, and my dad and my family wanted to ride all the roller coasters, and I was petrified as shit. Because I figured someone's going to blow the thing up. So
Right.
But I think that was one of my mortified, but one of my funnest scarring family vacation summer trips ever.
Well, I
Just a
mean,
little side book,
it was
but-
obviously it happened so much they had to make a movie out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the movie was already made. We were supposed to go see Pinocchio, but my cousin's like, no, we're too young, we're too old for that. So, being 21, we went to go see Roller Coaster. So, but yeah, it was one of those movies in the '70s that had Sensurround, which was one of those early surround sounds.
Where it vibrates the seats.
Yeah,
and
extra
all that stuff,
subwoofers to make
Yeah.
you feel like you were in the middle of it. So, yeah, it petrified me, it scared me, but you know what? I love roller coasters today. I don't know if it's because of that movie, but I enjoyed it, and King's Dominion will always be one of my favorite spots.
Will's first trip to an NFL game was after watching the movie Black Sunday. Wasn't that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Black Sunday with the sniper in
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Glenn?
Why
And the
not have to be
blue- yeah.
black?
But
Because his parents were.
Okay.
but
But you can't tell that on the podcast.
What about King's Dominion and roller coasters? At least when the last time I was there in '96 or '97, somewhere around there, they had the oldest wooden roller coaster.
They did.
you
And
know,
I don't know if it's
and
still called the same, but being Virginia and being south of Mason-Dixon, it's called the Rebel Yell.
Yes, it is.
Is that the double red and blue?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Because at the sister park, Kings Island, outside
Oh,
of Cincinnati.
the Beast.
Yep.
Well, but they had the red. They because we were north of the Donna Dixon line. They called it the red and blue racer. And when I went the last time, which was '80s, they had turned one of them around. So if you got on like the red racer, you were facing forward. If you got on the blue racer, you went through the ride backwards.
They did that in Six Flags over Georgia last time I was there. I can't remember the name. It's a big wooden roller coaster too. They did it backwards, and everyone was really pissed off. But I actually enjoyed it because you couldn't see what was coming up.
Oh, yeah.
It was all just mystery, and then you hit it and you freak the fuck out. And
Right.
you're like, "Ah!"
Fuck, I'm upside down!
Exactly. But it was way fun. But it was not rickety wooden, but it was wooden, and it had all the clinks and clanks.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
it was,
yeah,
it was
no.
fun, so.
Yeah, there's a sound on a wooden roller
Yeah.
coaster that's just
And you
Yeah.
don't get
Just
your
so
neck doesn't
different.
hurt when you get off. So
Yeah.
not like the
Yeah.
metal ones, like
because it gives a little.
Ninja at Six Flags over Georgia. So.
Are you signaling the
Question.
Pentabric should?
My question.
Shall never be exposed.
I have never heard of King's Dominion, but it sounds suspiciously like one of those evangelical theme
No,
parks.
No.
King's
Where
Island
they
and
have
King's Dominion were both
They
owned
were
by.
wax-
sister
wax
sister
mannequins
sister
walking around with
park.
dinosaurs and stuff like that.
No, it's like
No,
a
it's
Six
just-
Flags.
it's just regular-
It had
yeah, it's like
a,
Six
It had
Flags.
Eiffel Tower. Both of them have an Eiffel Tower
Yeah.
look-alike.
Yeah.
But it's just basically the same. Roller coasters, carousels, swing rides.
It's an amusement park.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
it
real.
was.
Yeah, it's Six Flags
Yeah.
above the
And Kings Island
Mason-Dixon
was
line.
really famous in
And
the
better.
70s.
There are Six Flags
because
above the
Banana
Mason-Dixon
Splits
line.
There are
were
not.
They do now,
on there,
yeah.
and Brady
Great
Bunch
Adventure,
went to,
New Jersey.
Kings
New Jersey
Island.
has one.
So, and I'm pretty sure the Partridge
Oh, yeah,
Family
there's
was at
that
Kings
one. Yeah.
Island.
And you could
But
dress up like
Didn't it
Jesus
start out as just
and
Great
ride a
Adventure
T-Rex.
and then Six Flags bottom?
That's
I
awesome.
can
That's
either
awesome.
confirm
you're
or
thinking of
deny
Heritage
that.
USA.
I don't know.
What?
What?
What's Heritage USA?
It's a Christian theme park.
I've
You can
heard of
literally,
Bible Land.
Well, the water actually splits. The Red Sea splits as you walk through it. So,
Nice.
Nice.
it's sort of like History of the World. Part
That's
one.
like-
that's actually pretty cool.
That's like Christian third base, holding hands.
I don't think third base means what you think third base means.
Christian third base.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with him. I do not think it means what you think it means. All right, Bill.
So, Dad, miss you, love you, but you sucked at family vacation. Pretty much, I remember driving twice a year, whether I whether we wanted to or not, from Parkersburg, West Virginia to Cumberland, Maryland in a 68 Volkswagen Beetle, 5 of us. And pretty much any family vacation was simply to go visit my grandparents and my cousins who I saw twice a year for either summer vacation or Christmas vacation. The 2 exceptions were my grandfather worked at a company that every year had a family reunion in Huntington, West Virginia at a place called Camden Park. And it was Route 50, cheap ass, not Camden Yard, Camden Park. Cheap ass amusement park. The flying airplanes, you know, where you can bend the sail and it swings out just a little bit further. The Scrambler, the Big Dipper was the wooden roller coaster, the Ferris wheel.
So basically a permanent fair.
Yes.
Right
Yeah.
in the 1950s.
And a haunted house ride, which is kind of cool actually. But it was something we did usually every year. But really, my dad was not. We didn't do Disney with my dad, or even Hershey Park.
Six Flags.
None of that. Now, when my dad was a preacher, as a church group, we did Cedar Point and Kings Island. So I did get to go to those, but not on family vacation.
Right.
Cedar Point.
Church was paying for it.
No, we were paying
I know.
for it, but the
Are
church.
you referring to the nuclear power plants?
So,
No,
Right
no,
to
not
3
yet.
Mile
We went on
Island.
3 Mile Island. Yeah, the
so
ride.
You,
The-
did he drive
none of that
cross country
now.
to see Wally World?
No, we did not. But the one cool thing was because my aunt lived in the Washington D.C. area. When we would go on that vacation in the summer, we would get to go to Washington D.C. and I got to see the Natural History Museum.
And then the
I
coolest
got to
one?
see the Space and Science Museum. I got to see, I mentioned this last week, I believe, the National Bureau of Standards. Ooh.
Yeah, I was impressed.
And then, but I got to see the
That's
Marine
not as-
Band
that's
playing
not as
on
cool
the
as the National
waterfront. I
Institute
got
of
to see
Standards.
the Cherry Blossom Festival, which wasn't in the summer. It was, earlier, I believe. Spring, yeah. And but for the most part,
That's what they
growing
call
up
the early
as
part
a
of summer.
kid,
Right.
it was going to my grandparents and
we call it first
sleeping
week of
on a
March
cot
around here.
in the kitchen, and my granddad yelling at you if you opened your mouth and talked while you're eating dinner.
I am going to need you to expand on the sleeping on a cot in the
You
kitchen.
said a cot, right?
A cot, a C-O-T.
Oh
cot.
no, I know. In the kitchen?
Well, I mean, they had a 3-bedroom house. I think it was my grandparents had a room. My Aunt Amber had a room, and for a while, my grandmother Ruckman, who I ended up having to sleep in the bed she died in. Not that same night, but
Ruckmanite?
she wasn't a Ruckmanite, but
we
almost became a Mormon.
got a free bed, Bill.
Yeah, and
The
Smells
second,
like grandma.
the second M is silent, by the
And
way.
so, yeah, the dum 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 dum. But yeah, so I remember just sleeping on one of those cheap ass cots underneath the range that was in the wall.
Nice.
And that was my spot to sleep.
All right. Okay, so moving on to Ferg.
All right. Well, again, most family vacations involved going to visit family. Like, my grandma lived down here, so growing up in Jersey, we'd drive down here, and, usually we'd stop off in Virginia and stay at my parents' best friend's house when they lived there. And then we would drive down here for the week, then stop back off up there for another day or two, and then come home. But the most memorable, or I guess my favorite vacation ever was one year we drove up to the Catskills in New York State, and went to, like, I guess you call it a dude ranch or whatever, and yeah, I know.
Corralled a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, exactly. It was great, but no, it was like it's where I learned how to ride a horse and how to
First experience with chaps.
what no, but that was way before that. But it's I learned archery and stuff. It was and then and of course
Did you put baby in the corner?
I did not. I couldn't find her. But anyway,
Put Jerry Orbach in the corner. It was a dude ranch.
yeah. But then after that, so we stayed there for the week for whatever, and then drove up to Cooperstown, New York, and went to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Ah, cool.
So and anyone who's been paying attention, I'm a huge baseball fan, and I was maybe a 10-year-old kid.
How'd the Mets do tonight?
They lost, but
Last night.
they probably lost.
Crushed it last
Oh no, they did. They beat the Yankees. Woo, yeah. But I just assume they lose every night. So. With the most money ever spent on a team, and they can't
People
win a
love
freaking
listening
game.
to this podcast a week after it's recorded for the latest in sports updates.
And now for some baseball scores. 7-5, 6-3.
1-0. But yeah, so went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that was awesome. I was a 10-year-old kid who at that point in my life, baseball was my life. I ate, drank, slept, breathed it. But honestly, the one thing I remember most about being at the Hall of Fame was they had this little booth that on a loop played Abbott and Costello, Who's on First.
Oh, nice.
And I probably spent a half hour just listening to it and watching it, and my dad finally was like, "Okay, let's move on. Like, let's go see Babe Ruth." I'm like,
He's dead.
Was he on first?
Yeah, he wasn't moving.
Exactly.
but yeah, so it was just a great experience as a young boy. Baseball was and at that point in time, I was like, someday I'm gonna be here. That's the only time I ever was there. So and obviously I'm not making
You did it!
Obviously I'm not making it there throughout my baseball, attributes.
So you punched your ticket. No, the guy at the door punched your ticket.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was as far as my best childhood vacation. That was obviously it. So yeah, and that's all I got to say about that.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, UPC.
Well, my family, we never really took vacations per se, except maybe when I was so young that I don't remember any of them, like going to Disney World or Six Flags or something like that. But otherwise, it was basically to go to a funeral or a wedding, most of which were funerals. But because my parents were so old when they had me, like all of that part of the family, my parents' siblings and above, were all dying off. Yes.
Ever think they may have left you at home and gone on vacation, and that's why you don't remember them?
Well, it's possible. I remember they took an African safari and left me at home for a week. But
Because that would have been it if you would have gone.
possibly, yeah.
Well, they definitely would have left you there.
But
I guess he got stolen by a dingo. They don't have those in Africa.
Dingo ate your baby.
Well, whatever.
So
So,
obviously there was a
African
lot of
dingo.
Scout summer camp stuff because I was very active in Boy Scouts,
Right.
And Eagle Scout and all that good stuff. So there was a annual, week-long summer camp thing we would go to in North Carolina with the Scout troop.
Which was fun.
Yeah,
You call it scout camp, he calls it dude ranch.
yeah.
No,
heard
Scout
it both
camp
ways.
was fun. Summer camp was fun.
But really, probably the best was a field trip actually. And we took 2 of them in 4th grade. Went to a small private school, only 13 of us in the entire 4th grade class, and so we did 2 week-long field trips. One was to Williamsburg, Virginia, by way of Washington D.C., and then Jamestown, and then Williamsburg.
Historic Williamsburg?
Indeed.
Mm.
Yes. And so
I
we,
have been
we
there.
spent like 3 days in D.C. doing the Smithsonian
saw
and
the
touring,
sign.
the monuments and all that kind of stuff. And then we took a coach bus or whatever to Jamestown for a day, and then we went to Williamsburg and finished out the trip there. And it was really cool, partly because we took Amtrak. We drove to Mobile, which at the time had, I think it was Mobile, it was somewhere in southern Alabama that had an Amtrak station.
Mobile.
And we took that all the way to Union Station in Washington. It was really cool, just staying up all night and playing cards and chess and whatever in the dining car.
Of course,
the
chess.
Amtrak train.
Because you couldn't go to the bar card.
No,
My Amtrak trip, that's where I spent my time, hanging out with a bunch of German backpackers.
yeah.
It was awesome.
So we did that, and then the other trip that
Is it
same
called
year
Amtrak in
was
Germany?
for Florida, the Florida
No,
history
it was-
segment,
Ah.
because fourth grade, I
Going-
guess, in
going
the
up to
curriculum
Chicago.
in the state of Florida requires you to learn about the history of Florida, and
Yes,
so we
they
went.
do.
We went to St. Augustine, and it was kind of funny because we had this sort of swagger coming from Pensacola. It's like, oh, the second oldest city in Florida.
Actually, the oldest city.
That shirt's a
The
lie.
oldest continuously
No.
occupied.
No, Pensacola is the oldest.
Yeah, no, he was
Right.
talking
You
about
meant
he was talking about St.
St.
Augustine.
Augustine's the
Yeah.
oldest
He was
continuously
laughing
occupied.
about them being second.
Yeah, continuously inhabited. But anyway, so that was fun,
So
and,
number
that was
two-
just a trip with. And on the way there, we went to Wakulla Springs. We went to the Mariana Caverns. We went to Tallahassee and toured the state capitol. And it was just parents driving. And you said you took a trip in a VW Beetle.
Every year.
Well, the parent that I rode with, my friend Tommy's dad, drove an old VW camper bus.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah,
I mean, except it has the same motor
exactly.
as the Beetle.
Yeah, but
and weighs
twice the
3
mass.
times as much. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
0 to 60 in a week.
hmm
one year I chaperoned my school's senior trip, and every year it was the same
more than
trip.
a
And we did the trip
Oh, I was talking
backwards
downhill.
from you.
Ah.
We flew and then went to Jamestown for a day, then went to Williamsburg the next day, then got on charter buses.
But that seemed like 2
and-
days.
I've got it written down.
Yeah.
And then from there we went to Washington, D.C. Little known fact, the state of Florida is the only state in the Union that has an embassy on Embassy Row in Washington, D.C. And if you're from Florida and you show up, they'll give you orange juice and cookies. You gotta give
Cookies?
them a pint of blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you said something about the bar car. I did not get to drink in the bar car, but I did in Williamsburg. They sold me one of those long stem clay pipes and a roll of tobacco, and I smoked.
In
I
4th
smoked
grade.
tobacco. Yeah, all of us bought those like tricorn hats, and we had little muskets and stuff, and we were walking around with our muskets and tricorn hats, and I had the long clay pipe with a big twist of tobacco, and I was trying to figure out how to smoke it in 4th grade.
So it sounds like we all went through D.C. at some point in our childhood.
Really? I didn't.
Virginia. Well, okay, the rest of
Well,
us.
you were on a watch list.
I mean, I did go through D.C.
Well, Virginia.
I went through Dulles Airport on my way from Germany back to down to Georgia.
I must have misspoke.
Yeah.
You know, two things. Since we're talking about childhood memories, one, Ferg was talking about going to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Canton, Ohio, is the
Yes.
home of the Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Now, a lot of these trips that I went on were church-related trips. There is a very large Baptist church in Canton, Ohio. I believe it's called Canton Baptist Temple.
Temple?
Temple. Yes.
Hasidic
So many
Baptist?
jokes.
Canton Baptist Temple Mosque. All
Of
inclusive.
the Holy Cross.
Non-denominational.
Of the dome.
On the frontage
man,
road.
we're gonna get canceled. So
Yeah.
we'll edit that out. But anyway,
No, we won't.
when we went to the Football Hall of Fame, which I'm not a big hero worship type person, never have been.
Well, except for Tom Brady.
Well, and Craig
Tom
Biggio.
Brady.
That
But
must
yeah,
not have gone over well on these church trips.
well, he wasn't alive yet. Tom Brady. Oh, hero worship.
You're bad at worshiping.
Yeah, well, the reason I bring up the Canton Baptist Temple, I think is what it was called. Might have been Tabernacle, who knows? Let's get them all in. And,
Mormon?
but they have,
Choir?
the Jews worshipped in a tabernacle.
Yeah.
Anyway, they happen to have the Christian Hall of Fame right down the road from the NFL Hall of Fame. So you go
Christian
to
Hall of Fame.
So you go to the NFL Hall of Fame, and you're like, wow, O.J. Simpson, not yet a murderer. Wow, Roger Staubach, there's his jock strap. Scratch and
Smells like
man. How
See,
did that
Bobby,
guy
that's
get
what a
in
man
here?
smells like.
And this guy, and Bob Lilly, and this and that and the other thing. And then you go down the street and you go, there's a portrait of D.L. Moody, pastor from Chicago. There's a portrait of, I can't even think right now. Not a big hero worshiper.
Jesus?
No, he wasn't there.
He didn't get in?
He's a Jew.
And if you think Jesus was white, you have no say in gun control.
The photos didn't turn out. They didn't develop right.
No, it was just like a shroud.
Show me the video.
But then the other thing it made me think of was another church trip. We went to, in West Virginia, Cass Scenic Railroad. And it was one of those coal powered
like a steam locomotive.
steam locomotive, takes you up the mountain. You
Oh,
get
cool.
sprayed with cinders.
So you guys are boxcar kids?
Yes, Boxcar Willie. And
That's what Heidi calls it.
and
That's
then
not
we
getting
went to
edited out.
Yeah,
Blackwater
of course not.
Falls State Park. And what made me think of this was when you mentioned the corncob pipe.
That was a clay
No,
pipe.
clay
Clay
pipe.
pipe. Oh, I'm sorry. This
Yeah.
was a corncob pipe. And I bought at the gift shop at Blackwater Falls State Park. Now, first of all, this trip was also when I first discovered breasts. And no, Becky was not on this trip. But the Sunday school teacher's wife had one button unbuttoned too far, and it was my turn to sit up in the cab of the pickup and not get fumigated in the back with the camper on it. And then when we get there, I buy this corncob pipe. I don't have any tobacco, so I pulled hay out of the ground. I've never been so fucking sick in my life.
He is for horses.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So I will say, and not backing off yours because yours was a horrible story.
But I do know how to tell them, right?
Oh my god, you can tell a really awesome story. You guys buy the T-shirt. It's called the CNN Center right now until they sell it, but it used to be called the Omni Center in Atlanta.
Oh,
And I was just remembering that one year we went to, it was called the Amazing World of Sid and Marty Krofft, and they had a theme park in that center, and I got to meet Sigmund the Sea Monster. That's pretty much all I remember. But we also
Who
went
is
to
Sigmund the Sea Monster.
he was a sea
Oh,
monster.
Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
We also went through Lion Country Safari, which was outside of Atlanta near Stone Mountain, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. You could drive through a park that had lions, tigers, and giraffes.
bears?
Oh my.
Probably some bears, but they were on bicycles. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, but both are closed now. So
The Bears are in
that's all I gotta
Chicago.
say. So.
I thought you meant lying so far, like, oh, you're attractive. You're interesting.
I wasn't on your first date.
All right. Good job, everybody. All right, so next, we've all experienced, we'll say, periods of being in between contracts.
Huh. Not
So
so funny when it's you or me.
it wasn't the last 6 months you kept reminding me. It wasn't. So you got 5 months left. After that, I'll quit making fun of you. But Will, I'm just getting started. So, but just think about as an adult where you've had some time, what you've done to fill said time. Longer than 12 minutes, Ferg. So,
Damn, I got nothing.
let's say
and drinking is just taken for granted, right?
Correct.
It's
Okay.
right out.
well, yeah, because I mean, even if you went somewhere, you went drinking while you were there.
Sure.
So, I mean, yeah. Drinks were definitely involved. But yeah. So I mean, just to give an example, I was between contracts. I didn't actually go anywhere because, well, I was between contracts. So maybe you don't have to go anywhere, just what you did. But I made the most of the situation and rebuilt my Jeep. And now I have a Jeep that I can actually drive.
Larry, could you tell us a little bit about your security system for your Jeep?
Sure. Well, my Jeep, the key won't come out. So...
But the steering wheel will come off.
Yeah. So my
So
security...
you built the key into the Jeep as part of this process?
Well, I did. I couldn't get a push button working because it's manual. So I was like, well, what's the next most convenient thing? Oh, the key doesn't come out. Yeah, that works. So
Like,
steering wheel comes
super
off.
Super glue it in there, or like
No,
it's just
no, there's something messed up in there, and I just
meh.
the Jeep drives and the
Really
steering wheel
nice,
comes
yes.
off. Steering wheel comes off, so I'll worry about that when I'm painting it. But steering wheel comes off. Quick release steering wheel, and actually I have a car alarm now that has a microwave sensor in it that if you reach your hand into the Jeep, it will go off.
It fries your hand.
No,
And it tells you when the popcorn's
Well,
ready.
no, it just kills the ignition
Well,
and makes.
so
a
basically,
loud
when you
racket.
park the Jeep, you do like
Okay.
a cyclist.
I found this on the web, but when I'm painting it,
heck
the
was that?
steering wheel comes off quick release.
Mute your phone.
You do like
everybody.
a bicycle courier. You just pop the front wheel off the bike and carry it in with you. And
So you told me it will not cook a burrito.
It will not cook a burrito.
Damn.
It's not that particular
Well, it depends where you
frequency
put it.
of microwaves.
He's got to upgrade to the air fryer.
Put it on the
Yeah,
engine
and
block.
there's also a sensor for the
Or the
door to
Dashboard while it's
check
hot
if someone is
We are in
rattling the handle. Well, as you guys know, the Jeep has no doors, so I put that on the hood so no one can open the hood and steal my batteries.
Do you still use the brick behind the wheel?
That's the emergency brake. Yes.
slash wheel chock.
Well, it is a wheel chock, but that is my emergency brake.
The sirens you hear, evidently somebody set off the alarm in Larry's Jeep.
But
Testing.
Or there's another shooting at O'Reilly's.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why we hang out at the Spanish Trail. If you're in the mood to shoot somebody, don't go there. Go to O'Reilly's. That's the spot.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's what I did during my
Break?
My break. There you go.
Your time between contracts?
Yes.
Your midlife crisis.
No, it's not a Corvette.
That's the next car project.
It's a
No,
Jeep.
that's the
It's
Mustang.
close enough.
Mustang. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. Is midlife crisis.
It's not a midlife crisis. That car brought me home from the hospital. That's a family legacy. That car.
All right, I'll accept that.
Yeah. All right. Well, since you're accepting it, Ferg.
All
I
right.
know it's been a long time since you've been in between contracts.
Well, since I've been 16 and have had a job, the longest period of time I went in between contracts would be, I guess, right after I got out of the Navy, which I was only maybe a 3-month period of time.
And you were flush with all that Navy monies.
Well, I had a little saved up, yeah.
I'm sure you're
So-
sitting on a boat.
Right. You know, it's hard to spend a whole lot of money out in the middle of the freaking ocean. I mean, you can do it.
Right.
But, you know, it's,
12 minutes at a time?
well, I know it's basically playing poker.
Yeah. You guys didn't have internet on the boats
No,
then.
no. It's this is the '90s.
Yeah.
They had DARPANet.
Yeah.
Yeah, to send
What?
messages.
Yeah.
Not to look at porn. I mean, I'm sure there was. Let's face it.
And I wasn't privy to those rooms.
Right,
so,
right.
you know,
That was for the admirals.
right, the Admiralty. But anyway, so what I did actually after I got out of the Navy, I actually spent a month still hanging out in Virginia with my buddies and everything because they were about to go on a 6-month cruise, and I was like, yeah, fuck you, I ain't going. I'm getting out. You know, so, and then I left, came back, you know, here to Pensacola, and
So you literally spent a month just rubbing it in their face that you didn't have to go?
yeah, every morning when they get up to go to work, I'd be like,
Nice.
fine. No, like, and then I'd play PlayStation, and you know, every now and then I'd cook dinner, but you know,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, our apartment was like right across from a, I forget what the name of the grocery store was, but it was a grocery store, so I just like,
Jitney Jungle.
Wegmans.
maybe, I don't know, it was,
I love how you
A&P.
call. I
maybe,
love-
yeah, we'll call it
Delcamps.
A&P.
I love
Del
how you
Sham's
call
even better,
a
like
6-month deployment a cruise. Are you a recruiter?
It's a cruise.
Right.
Oh, gross.
God damn it. Yeah.
By the way, if I may interject,
No, you may not.
Where'd it go?
I'm going to anyway.
Well, then go ahead.
The
never stopped you
about
before.
a half hour before we started recording, we were attacked by a swarm of flying cockroaches.
Palmetto bugs, but no, whatever.
Palmetto bugs.
No.
I've heard it both ways.
Palmetto bugs
these
are
are
the armored
American
looking ones.
cockroaches.
These are not German cockroaches.
No, these are American.
These are American cockroaches.
But in
and
Florida, we build them big.
They're much more
The-
loud and in your face.
The floor of Trail South Productions back porch is strewn with the dead bodies of flying cockroaches.
We have murdered.
But, so anyway, getting back on topic.
Back
Yes.
to you, Bob.
Yeah. So after that month, I moved back to Pensacola, and honestly, I went back to school so I could finish up, you know, college, because you know that way I could still work at a liquor store. You know, so I'm an educated man who, you know, sells liquor.
So you have a degree?
I do, yes.
I don't.
Ah,
So
Didn't
what are
you
you
go
gonna
on
do
a-
with that?
sell liquor.
Didn't you go on a very long trip during that time? Was that when you went?
Are we talking about acid?
No,
Next
like
topic.
Thailand or something.
Oh, no.
For a thing.
No. That was I went to the Philippines in 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was, my
Yeah,
My-
we haven't gotten to that part yet.
my buddy Paul, not our Paul, but you know, actually his nickname is Tall Paul, so like you know,
Yeah, the opposite.
totally different. The guy who was actually came in town a few weeks ago while I wasn't here.
Oh, okay. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like that guy.
Well, he had his he and his wife had their first child and was like, hey, you got to come see my kid. So he bought me a plane ticket and I flew to, you know, I was like, man, I can afford a plane ticket out there. He's like, all right, bam. Like, well, he was working out of Afghanistan at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know,
He's like, what's your excuse now?
I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go. But yeah, But yeah, so what I did with like my time in between contracts was I went to school,
Okay.
which is not fun at all.
All right.
And I highly recommend people not going to college at this point.
Okay. Well.
College is the greatest 12 years of my life.
10 for me.
Well,
Okay, doctor.
No.
yeah.
I mean, I did,
It's just bullshit at this point.
I mean, I did start college in 1990, finished up in 2001. So yeah,
11 years.
Yeah,
I beat you by
I
a
took-
year.
I took 4 years off.
But you
One-
beat UPC.
I got
But he's
married
got
and
like
had-
12
I got-
degrees.
12.
I got
You know?
married and had 2 kids.
Yeah, I win.
So there
Our
was
problem.
24 minutes.
You were busy.
Yeah.
All right.
In a row?
Let's go with Bill next.
All right. So, what I did on my time off? Well, I spent way too much money that I would have had plenty of had I not known that Mary was going to ruin my life and fire me unceremoniously. Yeah, different Mary. What about Mary? And but actually, what we did for our summer vacation, again, most of our vacations still revolve around family, and that's partly because
You don't know how to have fun.
No, we've done, and when we get to the best and worst memories, you'll find out why. But what we've done for the last 3 or 4 years is we have gone up to the Smoky Mountains, and we've rented an Airbnb. My son and his family, my daughter and her husband, my wife and I, and sometimes if I can't find a shelter, my mother-in-law comes with, and we go up and spend 3 to 5 days up in the Smokies, overlooking just beautiful, beautiful scenery. Go downtown Bryson City and hang out and just have fun and visit and hang out with the family. And we go on, excursions throughout the day, but it's mostly just to hang out, play board games and family fun and cook out and do all that sort of thing. Well, this year, instead of renting an Airbnb, what we chose to do was to, we were talking about this before the show, we stayed at a resort in Bryson City, which means it had a pool. And
Indoor.
Indoor.
It's a
pool.
holodome.
Yeah, and outdoor hot tub that they cleaned once a week, whether they needed to or not. And we stayed up there for 3 or 4 days, but
And they had a mouse.
We stayed for the whole time. Same group, sans mother-in-law, and we stayed for 5 days, and we helped my son and his wife do several renovation projects on their house. They bought a very old farmhouse, beautiful house, beautiful location, but 1929 build. There's some work that needs done, and so we renovated the kitchen some. We renovated a bathroom, turned one of their 3 bathrooms, full bathroom, into a half bath for guests that come and visit and hang out. We did a couple other projects, and it was actually, the reason we did it was because for Christmas, my daughter and her husband, one of the gifts they gave to my son and his wife was a weekends free labor on their house. That was their gift. So we said,
So they had
hey,
to pay up.
why don't we pull our resources and we'll go at the same time, and instead of renting and spending thousands of dollars on an Airbnb, let's spend less money, I thought, resort and at Lowe's, and but we did a lot of work, and we did a project in the kitchen that really opened it up, made it look awesome. They did some painting. We renovated a bathroom, and there's way more to be done. I would say of the 100% of projects that need to be done, this encompassed 5%. But it was fun. We still got to hang out. We still got to drink at night. We still got to sit in the hot tub and the pool with the grandkids and go out to dinner. But instead of going on excursions, we worked our butts off. And it was early enough in the season that it was top temperature was 80 degrees and no humidity. And we had a good time doing it, and you feel good about helping someone. And I'd do it again.
All right. Sounds like a lot of work to me, but all right.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I just listening to you.
yeah. I was
I feel like
about.
got sawdust in my veins.
I also helped Larry demo his house, so I'm a glutton for
Although that was not during my break.
no.
I was working at the time. No, actually, I had taken a week off when we did the demo.
But I did get my kitchen done before you.
You did, and when you came over and helped me demo, you gave me a sledgehammer,
Yes.
which I have
did.
used many times.
I want a
I'm sure your
sledgehammer.
wife enjoys it.
Huh?
I want a sledgehammer.
Well, as soon as you invite Bill over to demo your house, he'll bring a sledgehammer.
Oh, I should probably buy a house.
Yes.
We could demo your wife's house.
We can roll your wife's house.
Oh, yeah, you've rolled my house. We should roll your wife's house.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Y'all,
All right.
I know
All right,
this
guys.
guy. I know this guy with a Jeep.
All right, guys, we're signing off early. We're
We also have the Sam's membership, so we can go buy some toilet paper, at cost.
they're not open right now. All right, well, go
I know a
ahead.
guy.
I mean, the trail's open, it's still there.
What toilet paper at the trail?
In the executive washroom.
I was between jobs, and my mom flew me down to Belize where she was staying, and so I went to Central America. Well, I guess it's Central America, Belize.
It is.
And she lived in San Ignacio, which is way up by the Guatemalan border. But we went all over Belize and into Guatemala, and down to the coast and out to Ambergris Key, and man, it was just really awesome. I mean, it's not third world, but it's kind of third worldish because you'll drive down a road that's paved, and all of a sudden it's a dirt road, and then you're in the mountains, and there might be people that might stop you and steal money from you. But it's beautiful. down
Did
there.
that
Don't
happen?
stop.
It actually did. My mom told me to put money in my shoe, but leave some in my wallet. So if they did stop us, you could actually.
Was it your
Yeah.
prison wallet?
It was my prison. The one that Bill made when he was in prison. Macrame. So,
It's more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's when you see on those long journeys in those old school buses. But it was cool. But when we were down there, just the way we went into Guatemala, it was if they closed the border, every night at 6. So if you weren't out of the country by 6, you were staying in the country until the next morning when they reopened the border, like at 9 in the morning. But we didn't stay that long. We went to Tulum, and then we went down to Flores Island, which is this awesome, beautiful island in this lake, which has these brightly colored houses and buildings and small roads. It looks like something out of Europe, but it all leads up to this tall point in the island where there's a huge cathedral, and man, it was just really freaking cool. But then you go back to Belize, there's rolling blackouts, and I think when I was there,
So it's like California.
pretty much, but they only
Yeah,
had one
kind of
fast
third
food
world.
restaurant
Or
in
Ed
the whole
Koch's New
country.
York.
Yeah, they only had one fast food restaurant in the whole country at that point, and that was one Subway restaurant, and it wasn't strategically located at any point where you could actually go and enjoy it. It was just some randomly placed where somebody threw a dart at a map.
And I bet you couldn't get a $5 foot long there.
Down there, well, you can use American dollars.
Well, for
but-
$5, you probably get 8 foot longs.
something like that. So, but a lot of Mennonites and a lot of Chinese. But man, it was really cool. So yeah, so it was between jobs. I was taking time off from one job and then going to another job. I just let them know that I was had already scheduled a time to visit my mom. So went down there, and out of New Orleans, or even if they did it out of Pensacola, but out of New Orleans, it's basically like a 30-minute flight straight down south to Belize. You land and you drive, and man, it's awesome.
So it's just like everywhere else. You land and you drive.
Well, yeah, but imagine Milton with bad housing. There's like
So, Jay.
yeah, pretty much J Florida. So
I was thinking Baker, but okay.
I've heard
there's
it
just
both ways.
houses sinking into the sand.
Baker.
Just, yeah,
Yeah.
Baker, Florida. So, but yeah, that was my my summer that I was in between jobs.
Gotcha. All right, UPC.
What was the topic again?
What you did in
Oh.
between jobs.
Okay, so
Something fun.
so when I left New York in 2013 and came back to,
New York City.
get a rope. Came back to Pensacola. This was a trip that I'd already somewhat planned before I left there, but that summer I went to the Netherlands, to a place called Nijmegen, which is in the eastern part of the Netherlands, really close to Germany. If anyone has ever seen the film A Bridge Too Far,
Yep.
Arnhem is a town very close to Nijmegen. Operation Market Garden took place in that area, in that province. The province is called Brabant, by the way. One of the 7 provinces of the Netherlands. So they have this thing called the 4 Days March, or the Vierdaagse, and it's something that started right after World War I, that the Dutch king, I believe at the time, was very disappointed in the Dutch soldiers' physical fitness. Apparently they sucked in World War I. And so the king said, we're going to do this thing, and it's sort of an additional bonus thing, but I will award you, the participants, a medal for doing this. And it's a 4-day march through, centered in the town of Nijmegen. And it's, I don't know what the original parameters were back then, but now it's, if you're in a military unit, it's 40 kilometers a day with a minimum of 30 kilos of rucksack, and you march in formation. So there were all
Not doing
kinds
that.
of, all kinds of
That was in the
military
Boy
units
Scouts.
from the Netherlands, from Germany, American army units,
I was
probably
in the
out of
Navy. Didn't march
Germany,
anywhere.
that had come over. Japanese self-defense force, they sent a little platoon or whatever over there. So the military still participates in this on the original military side of the way things work there for this march. But the Dutch, being a pragmatic people, and it was only about 8 or 10 years into this thing, they said, well, wait a minute, physical fitness is good for everyone. Why can't civilians do it? So they said, well, sure, let's open it up to civilians. And so civilians march, and it's not march per se, but you're not allowed to run. People get disqualified if they run.
You just walk.
Yeah, you're walking through the countryside. It's so beautiful. And based on my age group and gender, it really sucked because I had to do 50 kilometers a day, but I didn't have to carry a rucksack because I wasn't part of the military side. At this point, it's over 100 years old now. It was such a wonderful experience. You get up at 5 in the morning and start, and if you don't finish by the cutoff time of like 5 p.m., you don't start the next day.
You're
Oh,
done.
you're done?
Yeah, you're done. You're disqualified. But if you finish all 4 days for your age and gender group, you
Do they
get the
put like a funny
award.
colored shirt on you and make you walk through the center of town? If you
No,
don't
well, so
finish
it's a
it?
giant party. It's imagine
Everybody's
it's
done.
like Dutch Mardi Gras basically. So it starts and finishes in the center of the town of Nijmegen. So people come from all over just to hang out and party. And so all night long there's like food trucks and people are just partying all night long. Some people do this on no sleep. They just drink the whole time, and they're stopping at little pubs along the way and drinking, and of course,
Like,
Oh,
so like,
the
do
McGuire's
they do this
Yeah.
like, do they do this like once a year?
I wanted to do it like as a recurring thing, but it's. I mean,
But they only do
it's a bitch, and-
do they only do it once a year?
Yeah, it's once a
Okay.
year.
So when's the next time they're doing this?
It's
was yesterday.
July of each year generally.
So
Yeah.
so like, it's
Oh,
like a whole year
yesterday.
away.
Yeah.
It was pretty
But
much
you have
yesterday,
to
buddy.
now.
Yeah,
it's so
it's-
popular.
When did
They
you-
limit it to 40,000 people
Holy
participating.
You know what?
Oh, you know, I
So
don't.
there's a lottery.
I just want to go for the party. I don't want to. I do
Absolutely.
not want to walk.
Yeah, you would enjoy.
I
it.
know, like no, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like
And so
you know,
you're
like,
starting out.
yeah, you
Another
know.
bar.
5 in the morning, you're starting out. The sun is just coming up, and as you're making your way through the suburbs and getting out
Oh,
into the
5 a.m.
countryside.
Oh no, it's,
People
I
have
don't do
put
5
out
a.m.
their living room furniture in their front yard. Women have like coffee and tea and little home baked pastries and stuff. Little kids go out, and the boys do high fives, and then the girls have bags of candy, and they just get in the middle of the road and just like are handing out little candies, and the boys are high fiving people to motivate them or whatever. And
So 40 kilometers, you're talking about 25 miles?
well, 50 for
50, but it's .621,
No.
right?
yes,
No,
about
no, our-
30
2
miles.
or so.
Now our age group is way
32
past
miles.
that.
Oh,
Per
yeah,
day.
you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
and I
So-
just have to get to
The
McGlinty's.
I think the cutoff
You guys
is
are like
50.
100
Once you're
yards.
50 years old, then you go down to like 40 kilometers as a male and 30 kilometers as
It's
a
still-
female. But there are people who have been doing this every year, and they're in their 80s, and it's insane. Like these people are famous
Yeah,
in the Netherlands. They're interviewed every year. It's on TV.
That-
It's really cool.
That reminds me of the guy who took his wife to the doctor and he said, I don't know what's wrong with her. And they ran some tests and then the doctor said, look, she's either got Alzheimer's or she's got VD. He goes, well, what do I do? And he said, take her out in the middle of the woods, drop her off. If she makes it home, don't fuck her.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. I would love to do it again. It's what you do is your walking pace. You end up like maybe synchronizing with someone else for a little while, and you can have a conversation. You meet people from all over the world, and then eventually it's kind of acknowledged
year
like,
did
well,
you do
sorry, my
this?
pace is a little faster than yours, so I'm going to kind of leave you behind.
Yeah.
Wow,
What
I
year did
would
you
was,
do
totally
this?
be in last
2013.
place.
Okay.
Yeah. How old?
2013 is when I went.
So
Oh.
you know,
So I was
10 years ago. So you're you know
was 37.
30. Yeah.
In 2009, Heidi and my daughter and Heidi's sister and her daughter did the 60-day Susan G. Komen
60 days?
60-mile.
Oh.
I'm sorry. 3-day breast cancer walk, and they averaged 20 miles a day through Georgetown, and it's just up and down.
Georgetown, Maryland.
Maryland,
Okay.
yeah, and it's up and downhill. Heidi has not walked since then. I'm really not kidding.
Oh, I mean, considering
You guys just
all the
did
breast
an-
cancer she caught from
You
that.
guys just did an epilepsy walk.
Okay, that was a.
Wasn't so much a walk.
What
Yeah.
did they call that in New Orleans when the band is playing as you go through like a funeral procession? They call it a second walk or
Well, there's a second line.
second line.
But
It was
that's-
they did a second line walk for epilepsy, but you know her and her sister did this breast cancer walk, and I always kid and tell her, I go, I told you not to do it. What ended up happening to you and your sister?
They got it.
Story
They
ever.
got it.
Best story.
Mission accomplished.
Well, I hope you get a job soon.
Hey,
They should rename it a walk
He's got an
against
interview
breast
tomorrow.
cancer, not a walk for breast cancer.
Yeah.
Maybe they would get less breast cancer from this.
Yeah, we're very aware.
all right. Okay, so
Did you do yours?
Yeah,
I
he
did
started
mine
off.
first.
I forgot.
Really?
Built a Jeep. We had a whole
That
talk
drunk
about
are
it.
you?
Yeah.
I'm actually not drunk. That's probably why I can't remember.
UPCs?
Well said.
I do
Yes,
not.
he has a model, a girlfriend that's a model in Scandinavia or something like that.
What about Furbs?
He used to have long hair.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
I used to have hair.
All right.
We all used to be much younger before you told your story, Bill.
All right. So next, we are going to do out of the entire time you've been alive, most memorable or worst, not least memorable because you obviously don't remember it.
Most
Yeah.
traumatic.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, most memorable or most traumatic vacation.
Trip.
Up until now, yeah. Well, we're not
That
talking.
birth canal.
We're not talking about
Psychedelics.
acid today.
Psychedelics is next week.
Yeah, we are not talking about psychedelics today. So,
Not that kind of trip.
yeah, not that kind of trip. I'm talking about the kind where you get on a bus, an airplane, in a car, on a train,
Planes, trains, and automobiles. I got it.
and buses.
Oh, and buses.
Buses are allowed.
It's an automobile.
Standing in the Capitol Rotunda.
Hey,
Too
some
soon.
of us, parents would just stick you on a bus and say, "Get off when you get to where you're going,"
It'll take 12 minutes.
or 36 hours
No,
for a 3-hour trip.
No,
Yeah.
I'm getting off in 12 minutes.
All right. Well, Bill, you're going first on this
All
one
right,
because
so
you
I'll-
can't seem to shut up.
Well, I mean, it's a podcast.
What?
I'm supposed to be talking, otherwise there's
Yeah,
dead
it's
air.
not a Ken Burns podcast.
And by the way,
This is not a six-parter.
By the way, I will say this. It has seemed very quiet to me tonight, and I finally realized
No frogs.
why. No. Before the podcast, Will and I were sitting out here watching the Red Sox and Braves, and we had 2 fans on high speed, and they're off now, and it has made it just to me feel like we're in a tomb. And I all of a sudden went, oh, that's why it sounds so quiet. I did, before I tell and I'll make them quick-ish.
There are also all the dead bodies surrounding
Yes,
you.
and then all the dead bodies from mourning, the cockroaches.
We
Um,
made him go first to speed this
Will
up, right?
mentioned,
Yeah.
but Will mentioned that in Belize.
Well, Will can mention it when he.
No. I wanted to point something. I wanted to do a UPC moment.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Will mentioned that he ran into a lot of people from China in Belize. This is
And
not-
Mennonites.
And that one I don't know the answer
They make great
to.
cheese.
Look,
And-
I
and
know this is
furniture.
probably going to come off as racist, but I totally hate Mennonites.
I used to date
Well,
one.
we lost 1% of our listening.
By
No,
the
you
way,
didn't.
make fun of all the Amish you want. But I was going to say the reason that
Hey, they
there
build
are
great barns.
so many, there's such a large population of Chinese people in Belize is because they can immigrate, if I use that word properly, from Hong Kong to Belize much easier than from Hong Kong to the United States.
Yeah.
They go from Hong Kong to Belize and then from Belize to
It's
the
easier to
United
get Belize
States.
citizenship
Yes.
and then become a United States
And then
citizen.
become a U.S. citizen. That's why
Canadian.
you will see so many Mennonites dressed up like Chinese people.
Makes sense now.
So, both of mine, I'm going to give a.
Oh, you're doing a
I'm going
twofer?
to do a worst and a best.
well, of course he does.
Always. The best. Family in Maine. We went up there. We drove, me, my wife, my son, my daughter, drove in our Jeep Liberty,
My wife and I.
my wife,
My wife.
straight through to Maine, 27 hours to northern Maine. And we stayed on Lake Rippagemus Dam, and in a house that didn't have electricity, just gas lights,
Oh, yeah.
and they had a generator.
Oil lamps and things
Oil
like
lamp,
that?
yeah, and no, it was natural
they had
gas,
natural
yeah,
gas lighting.
propane or whatever that was connected now. But we climbed Mount Katahdin, or the majority of it. We couldn't make it to the top once we got, I think it's called Kitchen Pond or something like that. I'm good. We had to stop because you're above the tree line at that point, and there was a thunderstorm coming. And they're like, "You're gonna get fried." And once you start climbing up the hill to get to the knife's edge and then make your way down, you can't turn around and come back. You gotta go forward. And but it was an awesome trip. I mean, we spent time out in the woods on this lake. You get up in the morning to take a bath. You go out in the lake with shampoo and you take a bath. And it's cold as hell.
That
in
sounds
water
great for the
in
environment.
Maine. And it was Johnson and Johnson. It was okay. And or Amway liquid
The
organic.
fourth best
It
COVID
was
vaccine.
LOC, liquid organic cleaner from Amway.
Oh, okay.
So we hung out there,
So
whole
not head and
family,
shoulders?
my wife's whole family, in-laws,
Save the
brother,
world,
sister, a large group, large
Evolution,
contingency, climbed up the mountain, climbed back down, had a great time, spent just an awesome time. I think it was the same weekend that we went whitewater rafting, and when we went whitewater rafting, the air temperature.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know. The air temperature that morning in northern Maine, the last weekend in July, was about 52 degrees. So you can imagine how cold the water was. But it was a great trip. I remember it. I had
51?
Yes. Had a blast. Slept in a double bed on the screened-in back porch.
So
Big
not a cot.
thunderstorm rolled through. I remember all of it. We had giant campfires every night. It was just a good family fun trip, and this was like back in '08, and and the kids were there with us, and it was fun.
That actually sounds pretty awesome.
Now, same group of people. We were going to have a family reunion at Disney, and it just so happened that we had to postpone it 2 years in a row due to previously said breast cancers and whatnot. And finally we said, week between Christmas and New Year's 2012, we're going. If you can't make it, you can't make it. Worst trip ever. We had to, because we had to restructure it, we ended up staying in one of the old condos. My brother-in-law and his wife had two timeshares. We got the timeshare where all the employees from the parks stayed. The pool was closed for repair. The hot tub locked at 9 o'clock at night. My nephew and his brother would get drunk every night at age 15 and 17 or so, and play poker and get in a knockdown, drag him out. My grandson, okay, so this was 12 years ago, 12 years ago.
So your nephew and his brother, wouldn't they both be your nephews?
My two nephews.
Okay.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
You never thought of it that way.
I don't really claim one of them.
So were these like the Hanson brothers from Slapshot?
They were dicks.
So
And
so his nephew and the crackhead.
yes. And my grandson was just a few months, 6 months old. And we all piled into a couple rooms, and we couldn't use the one bathroom because we put the pack and play in the bathroom. So we all have to share a room. I got to share the kitchen, or the living room, not the kitchen, that was my grandparents. I got to share the living room with my son, who snores like nobody's business. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night one night and punching him as hard as I could in the stomach and the ribs to wake him up to quit snoring, and he wouldn't wake up. The entire fucking week, Gwen, was that bad. It was horrible, to the point where at one point the two nephews got in a fight. One of them left the compound, and we had to call the cops to find him because he was running across some golf course in Orlando. We weren't there to go to the parks. We were there to hang out. and the place where we stayed had no amenities. Had we stayed at a really nice posh place, and there'd have been a water park, swimming pool, all this. No, it was just us not being happy. And it was, in
So, like-
my
So your
opinion,
inner white trash came
So-
out to the forefront.
worst vacation I've ever been
So
on in my life.
anytime people get around their family.
Will is getting ready to get a new job as digging his way out of a grave live.
No, that was a great story, Bill. I can't
I
wait
need
to buy the t-shirt.
I need new friends.
Oh, hey, wait.
You should,
Guess what's about to happen?
What?
Oh, it's Will's turn.
well, I'm just waiting for Bill to make the t-shirts, write it down, make it a story so Warner Brothers can buy it and make it a funny summer blockbuster with an all-star cast.
Hey,
Sure be
hey,
great.
just so you know, Netflix and Paramount are both currently bidding on those rights.
Will got up this morning and walked the mall.
It
I'm
was
pretty sure
nice
he's going to end up on Crackle.
Yeah.
They've had AC.
Yeah, it might be up on Pluto TV. Anyway,
Comet.
what were we talking about? What was our story?
Like worst vacation.
Most memorable vacation, whether
Yeah,
positive
but-
or negative.
Yeah,
Or both.
and or both.
yeah. If you want to tell two, don't.
Wow! They were related.
They were related.
Well, or because they're your relatives.
Oh.
It's all relative.
Yeah, obviously both of them were my nephews.
Obviously.
As you discovered tonight.
My nephew and his
Who
brother.
needs Ancestry.com when we have the meanings of words?
We'll have 2 more listeners because they'll be listening.
I hope so.
It's Uncle Bill's,
Yeah.
awesome, fabulous story. Mine wasn't really much, and again, I've had so great vacations, but this isn't like the best. But going to my buddy Jack's wedding in Denver, up in Estes Park, that Bill actually drove me and my buddies, his son and our buddy Harrison, to New Orleans to fly up to Denver, then to go to Estes Park for
With
his wedding.
sciatica.
Bill had sciatica, not me. Go to his wedding.
I've heard it both ways.
Which was there for 5 days, and it was awesome because I've never been to that part of the country, and being up right at the door to.
I think you have.
Well, I have now, but being going to the Stanley Hotel, being where the Shining was written, and just being up there was really an awesome time. So thank you, Bill, for driving us.
And it was a virtual weed cipher the entire week.
Anyway, that's the end of my story.
So you heard it here,
So-
folks. The
so-
only podcast that has its own in-house hecklers.
Somebody has a job interview tomorrow and doesn't want to be tested. So, well, I'll go next. So mine was in 2010. Apparently, 2010 was a
The
good
year
year
we made
for,
contact.
No, 2010 was apparently a good year for vacations. And well,
Oh, yeah.
his March was in 2010.
No, 2013 was mine.
Oh,
I
Bill's
went
was
to.
2013.
Yeah,
Oh,
when you went to the Philippines.
yeah. No, I got out of
Jail.
Whatever.
got out of
The Navy?
No, got out of Japan about 40 minutes before the freaking earthquake.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
Like the
fucking with my
Fukushima
story.
one?
Oh, sorry.
So,
That was a great story. So it's
Yeah.
Mark's turn.
so 2010. Well, I have to start with in 2009. My dad passed away. My dad had promised my mom that in 2010 he would take her to Venice. Needless to say, he couldn't do that.
Venice,
So,
Florida.
no, Venice, Italy. Needless to say, he couldn't do that. So, buddy of mine who considered my parents to be like his parents, he'd gotten kicked out of his house when he was 15, and he moved into our house and lived with us until he was 18. And so we decided that we were going to take Mom to Venice and fulfill Dad's promise. So we got together. We took my mom and my daughter. We went to, we flew from Pensacola, Florida to Rome, not directly. Can't do that. But
Georgia?
no.
That is a direct flight.
Rome, Italy. We spent 4 days in Rome, went to the Colosseum, saw all the cool stuff, got talked into, got tourist trapped into a restaurant that had very, very average spaghetti.
The Olive Garden?
It was. It may not have been Olive Garden quality spaghetti for, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was about 60 euros each.
Oh, Carrabba's.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. We discovered real quick, that was our first night. We discovered real quick, don't listen to anybody who's telling you that stuff. We found an English pub called the Druid's Den. Shout out to Aiden. And we would go there every night, and whatever we were doing the next day, we'd go, hey, what's the best way to, if we're going to the Coliseum tomorrow, what do we need to see? How, what do we need to do? And they would give us all the, go at this time, do this, do that. But also, they would tell us what restaurants to go to. The second night, we went to a restaurant that was suggested to us by Aiden. And holy shit. It was delicious. It was amazing. You walked into the restaurant, there were no little tables. They were just giant family tables. And they told you where to sit. You went and you sat down. You ordered your food. Now, it wasn't family style like there was a big bowl of stuff, but you were at a big table where you were talking to people. And
Sounds like a nightmare.
it was amazing. Really?
Wait,
Hopkins house.
talking
right,
to
the
the
old
locals.
Hopkins house. I mean, yeah,
Locals.
know.
Talking to the
Hopkins
locals,
means
figuring
Yeah.
out stuff.
Speak English!
That was where we discovered that on the north side of the Coliseum, I believe it was the north side. It's been 13 years. If you go along the road 2 blocks,
Is that where you could carve your name into it without the security cameras catching you?
Good God.
But somebody else caught somebody else doing that.
I literally hope those people get the death penalty.
They should throw them to the lions.
Ah,
Wouldn't
so
that
you
be
did there.
fitting?
Oh, that would be
They
awesome.
should do that.
Get your
But-
t-shirts, folks.
Give
Nail them
one
to
give one a trident and a net.
But no, 2 blocks from the Coliseum, there's this little restaurant that has the greatest pizza. I can't say it's the greatest pizza in Rome. It's the greatest pizza I had in Rome, and I had lots of pizza in Rome.
When in Rome.
Well, yeah, yeah. I told my daughter.
Eat Papa
I told my
John's.
daughter as soon as we landed in Rome. So I didn't tell her this
Papa
before.
Giovanni's.
I didn't tell her before, so she didn't have a chance to back out. But as soon as we landed, I told her, "Listen, we're not ordering anything you can get in America. If you see a McDonald's, we're not stopping." And they had Popeyes and KFC and everything there. But
So chicken.
yeah.
But
But
the
so
chicken Parmesan
so
sandwich at Burger King and it
we,
was
we
Chicken
spent
parm.
we spent
so
4
good.
days. We spent 4 days in Rome, And then we took the train to Florence, and we spent 3 days in Florence, which was friggin' amazing. If you're ever in Florence, go to Old Stove Sonora. Friggin' amazing English pub. Tell Jimmy Larry sent you. But Florence was incredible. They have these markets that just kind of pop up on the street. And I bought my favorite belt I own, which is actually made from buffalo hide. Yeah. It's amazing.
Are you talking about
wings.
buffalo?
No.
Like the ox?
No.
Okay.
No. It's a
Like bison.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
an American bison
Okay.
hide.
Well, buffalo and bison are actually different.
I know.
That's what I mean. Italian buffalo, where you get the mozzarella.
Yeah. But, and then for the point of the vacation, we took the train up to Venice, and we spent 3 days in Venice. And when we got to Venice, it was snowing at the end of April.
That makes sense.
Does it?
No, but
I mean, if you look at a globe,
A snow globe, apparently.
Italy is even with Florida.
right, yeah, but Venice is somewhat near the Alps.
It is. But I did get to do one of the coolest things I have ever done in my entire life, because you get in on the train, and then to go to Venice proper, you have to take a water taxi. So we get on a boat, in case you guys didn't know what a water taxi was, and it's snowing, and so of course I go out to the bow of said water taxi, put my foot up on the front, put my hands on my hips, take my head back, snow pelting me in the face.
Washing, crossing the
And
Delaware.
then he went, when the moon hits your eye
Like a big pizza
I
pie.
was going to do the Titanic thing.
No.
No. There was room in that. There was room in that door for fuckface, whatever his name was.
Was.
But I did
No,
discover.
well, if she had lost 20 pounds, there certainly would have been room.
But I did discover that there are no vehicles allowed in Venice.
At the old town. The old
Yeah.
part, Yep.
Like,
Yeah, that's where you go.
I mean, like
Well-
vehicles. You mean like not even like
You don't hang out
horse and
around the
carriage?
airport.
Well, they don't even have
Bill's been to
streets
the
wide
Venice
enough
part
for
of
a vehicle,
Epcot.
really. I mean,
Right, but no, I mean you can't even have a scooter.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah,
not
you
even.
can-
what,
you
what,
can't
what
have-
about what about a horse and carriage?
Nope,
That's the
no
best
room.
part
No,
of
there's
it.
definitely not room for that.
bicycles and there's
Yeah, you get
Except the
bicycles,
tower. And
But-
Carrabba's.
but
Sorry.
I mean a boat will show up with supplies, beer, whatever.
Beer?
We'll say a liquor boat shows up.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, and they got
Provisions.
load all on a
Who
cart
touched her?
and push it up to wherever it's going. And did get on a gondola. Just so everyone's aware, we've all been to New Orleans, right? You know that. You know that. You know that smell.
Ooh,
Ooh,
that
that
That's
smell.
great
smell.
smell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yes, you smell
Vomit,
that
urine.
smell.
stale beer.
yeah,
And a desperation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what the canals smell like.
Yeah.
And dead fish.
Yeah.
All of that. But also discovered that calamari that we have here, squid, I love it, delicious. But over there, you will get cuttlefish calamari.
The forgotten cephalopod.
Yes. So good. So good. None of the rubbery, just so
cuttlefish.
good. Yes. So that's mine. I'm only doing the one, not doing a bad one.
Okay, good, because I was about to say like, wow, I thought Bill took long.
Yeah, that's why I skipped the part where we then flew to Amsterdam.
Wait, you already talked about it
Nope,
yesterday.
nope. Done.
I have a question. The pilot episode of this show was about travel, correct?
Correct.
Did that guy, Trailus, talk about the Venice trip?
Nope.
Okay. In which case,
No.
I'm going to give you a
Yeah,
Venice trip.
yeah, no,
story.
no. Trailus was a bit of a food snob.
He left early.
So his stuff was all about Michelin star restaurants that he had flown to.
Okay, yeah.
Just experience a meal.
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it was
my
it was,
most memorable
It was really
is also Venice,
really cringy.
and it's a terrible one.
Oh, great.
So this was around 2011, 2012. Went to Venice for about 5 days for a professional conference at the Eye Bank of Venice, which is actually one of the premier eye banks in the world. Definitely the best one for corneal transplants and things like that. So we went to a professional conference there, and I took my ex-girlfriend with me because we're still great friends and great travel companions. And so for 4 days, we had these daily little seminars and stuff and tours of the facility, and they had some organized events that were really awesome. Actually, one thing that was really cool is there's one of the little island villages in that Venice Island, is Murano, and they're famous for the glass blowing, making very, very intricate glass. If you ever heard of Murano, Murano. Well, Murano is closed to tourists, to anyone who doesn't live on that little island village suburb or whatever, at a certain time at night, at sunset, basically. But we, because of our hosts in the iBank and whatever, they put together a special dinner there for all of us, and it was a bunch of people from different countries working in the biomedical field and transplant field. So that was cool. We got to go to Murano at night, which no one gets to do, and we went to this restaurant that they opened specifically for us, which normally is not open at night. Because only residents that are there, and we had this amazing meal. Yeah.
It's an island.
Yeah. So Venice, the old town of Venice, is kind of an island, and then there's little other islands that are neighborhoods.
That's I just wanted to check. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make
yeah.
sure. So I missed that part. So.
Yeah. You cannot get to Murano by anything other than boat.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. That's where all the good stuff ended. So, I get sick with some sort of flu kind of situation. So I'm feeling terrible. I've got a low-grade fever for the last half of this trip. My throat is so sore, I can barely speak. And the trip was planned such that we flew to Amsterdam, and then I nested a ticket inside that itinerary from Amsterdam to Bologna. So we went to Amsterdam, spent 24 hours there, and then I had another 24 hours in Amsterdam at the end before we flew back to the U.S. So we flew Amsterdam to Bologna on KLM. Bologna was a lot cheaper, and it's only a 30-minute train ride to Venice.
Did you have a nice sandwich?
And we planned to have a 24 hours in Bologna just before the flight out the next morning, just to check that town out, right? So when it comes time to actually leave Venice and go to Bologna, okay, well, we were going to take the train. Well,
The lights went out.
It turns out that the Italian transit workers were on strike. And this was a Sunday. So there were already fewer trains scheduled. It wasn't like, all the commuter fast trains were running and, Monday through Friday. This was insane. I'm sitting there battling a fever, trying to deal with like one employee of the rail system had a ticket window open. Everybody else was on strike.
Yeah,
this
he
was
was
like
a
a
scab.
corporate. It was like a corporate guy who decided to be in. And the rest were these machines. Well, the machines wouldn't work with my card because I didn't have. This is long ago enough that I did not have a chip in my credit card, and it would not
Right.
work.
They were required.
Okay, so I had to interact with a human and have them sell me a paper ticket. Well, that process, waiting in line forever, and trains would come and go out of the train station in Venice, but eventually, and now we're getting to like 10 o'clock at night, I looked into renting a car. No, all the car rentals were completely gone because everyone
There's a strike.
everyone who lives in Italy knew there was a strike. Apparently, they announce it days in advance.
And
Yeah.
it lasts 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the critical 12 hours
Yeah.
of this journey, right? And it's getting cold. This is sometime in April, and we're sitting there on this open platform. There's no real indoor waiting area because then they lock it up at like midnight. So we're just sitting out there in this open platform, freezing our asses off, hoping there's a train coming, and we'll see it. It's like, 12 minutes, here comes a train. Then it says cancel, cancellato, or whatever. Fuck, where are these trains going? They're just derailing, they're just stopping on the rails. I don't know, but they were coming this way. So eventually we get on a train, and I tell my companion, I say, look, I don't care that we don't have a ticket. We're going to get on a train. We can deal with it later. If
Yeah.
a conductor goes around, they can sell me a paper ticket and I'll have to
Yeah.
pay a full fare. It doesn't matter. So we get on this train that is going to go to Bologna, but it's this international train that came all the way
ticket.
from Slovenia and Albania. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the train system in Europe
Not
on
at
the
all.
weekends, where they have these really low fares if you take the slow train that stops every single stop.
Yeah.
And it's all the poor East Europeans get on those to do their traveling because they're broke as shit, right? So we get on there, there's nothing, we're in between cars by a lavatory, and we're sitting on our luggage, and there are 10 other people also in between the two cars doing the same thing, and they're all wearing tracksuits, and they look like something out of the movie Taken. And they smell like hash and BO.
Welcome to Europe.
And they are just, I can see my friend Anna, she's turning into a pork chop and back into a human like in a Looney Tunes cartoon. And these guys are just looking me up and down like, oh yeah, we can
take him.
Yeah, we can take him. And we're just like, holy shit. So we're sitting there, and it's cold as hell in between those two cars. I mean, it's freezing temperatures. We are just going on the slow train to Bologna, where normally the ride in from Bologna at the beginning of the trip was 35 minutes. This was a 3-hour trip.
Tour?
Slog.
A 3-hour tour.
So we get to Bologna in time. So now we're at the downtown train station. This is like 4 in the morning now. I have to get I had a prepaid room at the Sheraton at the airport. I have no way to call them. My cell phone doesn't work in Europe. This is
Your cell phone doesn't work
2011.
here.
Yeah.
Don't forget
Back then, I actually had a smartphone. But, so we were waiting for a taxi or something, but there aren't any taxis really pulling up to the taxi stand at the train station at 4 in the morning. So I had this clever idea. Well, wait a minute. If there's anything like a bar district, we're going to find taxis there. So we walk like 3 or 4 blocks, and there's like bar district stuff, like, kicking people out and closing down. And there's taxis there, but not at the fucking train station. Because why would the taxi drivers think anyone's riding the train?
Right.
There's a strike going on.
Right.
Only a moron would be at the train station during a strike. So we go and we pick up a taxi like outside of a bar, and we get to the hotel, and I've got 2 hours or less before we have to actually be at the airport to check in. When that hotel was intended to be a 24-hour stay for us to tour downtown Bologna and have a meal and everything. So we shower, we tell the front desk, I want wake-up calls every 5 minutes until you see me at your front desk, because we're gonna take a power nap, and so
Yeah.
we take a nap, and then we get to the airport, and then guess what?
Yeah, we're
Flight delays, big
No,
time, for
of course.
no apparent fucking reason. And so we're sitting in the airport. Time we could have spent sleeping, we're just sitting there for like 5 hours, waiting for a flight to get back to Amsterdam. We eventually get back to Amsterdam, and of course, our time there was totally destroyed because we just want to sleep at that
Right,
point. We don't
right.
want to do any more things in Amsterdam. So we just stay in the hotel at the airport and sleep for 12 hours straight. And then we get on flight and go home. And it was totally fucking miserable. And Venice
you
is
blame
known,
Venice?
food-wise, you know how much I care about food when I travel? Risotto is the signature dish of the Venice area. I tried risotto 3 times. It was all fucking garbage. I was so disappointed. I never got to have a good risotto.
I hate risotto.
Oh, well.
No, that's
What you can
Kinda
see, I
why.
will say, I've been to Europe, and the train system, I wish we had that in America, because
Oh,
without
people there
without the
don't
labor
drive.
unions.
They
Without
don't
the labor
drive
unions.
because they can hop on a train and go anywhere, whether it's like from here to Milton,
Yeah.
or from here to Tallahassee, or from here to Atlanta, or New York. They can hop
Agreed.
on a train and do anything, and it's freaking cheap as shit.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Agreed.
and we should have that here, but well, I mean, I love the interstate system, but
Yeah, I'd rather not drive.
yeah, I'd rather hop on a train.
I'd rather-
No, there is something to be said for a good road
they
trip.
have they
though.
have the bar
Oh,
code.
no, there
a
is.
nice car.
Sure.
You got a nice settled
Yeah.
car for a road trip.
Who do we
You
have
got all your
left?
music.
I believe it's me.
I believe you are correct.
All right,
But-
so
but I did want to say before that when I was in Venice, though, I will tell everyone Venice is overrated.
Oh, and it's
Hugely.
overrun. The tourists are
Yeah.
insane there.
Yeah.
The-
But
like busloads of Koreans and Japanese just completely
but
overwhelming it.
well, yeah.
Well,
But-
that's why Bill ignores that part of Epcot when he goes there. He just goes right past it.
All right, I'm
But-
glad you
but
brought
I-
that
but-
up.
wait,
I
wait.
did get to eat one
No,
thing.
I'm sorry,
Wait.
go
one
ahead.
thing
I'm
on my
sorry.
bucket list
Sorry,
was
wait,
sorry,
wait.
I'm sorry,
nerves.
sorry,
I
sorry,
got to
sorry,
eat.
sorry.
I got to eat horse meat and I got to eat cow nerves.
Good.
Neurons.
Good.
Now I
But-
have a boner.
But
you
Now-
too.
in
Now you
in
have a
Venice,
boner?
in Venice,
Now?
I did get to have an espresso in the oldest coffee shop in the world.
Chappuccino.
No, it was an espresso.
So the
Yeah.
first
It's really
Starbucks.
fast then.
No,
It
no.
was-
This place was opened in like 16 something,
There
and
was coffee back then.
It was
Yes.
At,
Well, 1600 is like 4 in the afternoon.
at
Yeah,
Dunky.
Marco
Was it at
Polo
Dunky?
was from
I'm pretty
there.
sure the Arab world had the oldest coffee
A lot
shop,
of
but
Krispy Kreme.
may not have
I
survived
thought
ISIS.
coffee came
Yeah.
from South
It was
America.
Dunkin'
Maybe
Donuts.
not, but it was.
Where's the oldest
there
Dunkin'
was
Donuts in the world?
there was a whole presentation.
No Starbucks though.
They brought out the they brought out the cup.
Tim
They
Hortons.
set the thing on top of the cup. They
Wow.
did the
Tim
pour. I mean, it was a whole thing.
You always got to
And-
be Canadian.
Yeah. All right. So it was like 20 euros for an espresso.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, it was 20 euros.
It's like
Well,
having a
$5
margarita at
It
Margaritaville.
was.
You're
It
paying
was.
for the story.
It was. But it was the best espresso I've ever had in my entire life. And I drink a lot of espresso while I was in
I drank a
Italy.
Guinness in Cambridge, England, with the at the same bar that Isaac Newton drank his Guinness.
And it was different, wasn't it, than what you get here?
Well, yeah, it was probably also different from what
Well,
he had.
it was
Well,
fresh.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, real quick,
Before
Will
Ferg's
brought
time.
yes.
Yeah.
Will brought up that twice. He said twice, once under his breath, and then once that I skipped Venice in Epcot Center. That vacation, I told you, the most horrible vacation,
Yeah.
ended on New Year's Eve at Epcot Center, and we tried to do the
Drinks around the world.
drinks around the world. It was so packed. We got to 2 countries, and I said
It
I'm
was
fuck-
literally New Year's Eve. That's bad planning.
We had free tickets. and
Yeah,
I
but
was
that's
like,
bad
I'm
planning.
fucking
And
out.
they ran out at the end of the year, so.
Yeah.
Here comes the ambulance, Bill.
All right, Ferg,
All right.
wrap us
So-
up.
Okay, so it wasn't a vacation per se, but you know, growing up in New Jersey, when you go down the shore.
Wait, you grew up in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Well, that's your vacation.
On the
right
shore?
there.
No, I didn't grow
Jersey
up on the
Shore.
shore. You go down the shore.
Oh.
So going down the shore was like it was an ordeal. So it
Hanging
was a
out,
big
hanging out
thing.
with
It was
Snooki and the Situation?
That's your vacation.
no.
I
Or
swear.
like
But it-
Barnegat Bay area.
No, you go
I
to
got
Seaside
barnacles
Heights,
on my dick.
and you know, and if anyone's familiar with Seaside Heights in Pensacola, it's a barrier island that, like, you know, so you have to cross.
so
you have to
like,
cross
like
a bridge.
Santa Rosa Island.
Right, so you have to cross a bridge. It's not unlike how it is here. So, my mom had won like $75 or something in the lottery or something, and like back in like 1983, $75 went a whole lot further than
Yeah.
it did now.
Now
Yeah,
it
you can buy
barely,
a house.
now it barely gets you from Kearney to the
To Newark,
to,
Oh,
to the New Jersey
Turnpike.
Turnpike.
Yeah.
Which meant like Kearney to Horror, so.
Yeah.
but no,
I'm sorry,
Kearney's
Garden
the town
State Parkway. It
it's
barely
the town
gets
I
you
grew
to
up
the
in.
GSP exit off of the Turnpike
Right.
in
so
tolls.
so anyway, we like
Wait,
she had
so you're a carny?
Small hands.
small
That's like
feet,
cabbage.
but you know, but I was blessed with an 8-inch dick.
With a
That
what?
that priest is in prison now,
Yeah.
but
When in Rome,
You win the internet.
Oh. How have we not heard that one before? That was good.
anywho,
That was
Those
What
are
was her name?
My
so
wife.
we decided, like, yeah, okay, we're gonna go down the shore, down the seaside, and you know, have a day trip.
Right?
So my brother Steve, the older brother, not the pisser.
Yeah.
That's another story. We'll talk about that later.
Pisser Steve. I just
No. Drew's the pisser.
Drew's the pisser.
Steve's the older brother. But talked to my parents, and they're like, you know, and taking his best friend Kyle with us, and then of course,
Fucking Kyle.
no, Kyle was cool.
ruins everything.
And then like we ended up bringing his sister along as well. So like,
What was
you
her
know,
name? Kyle's sister.
Kyle's sister,
Becky.
Laura.
Yeah, we've all seen the South Park episode. We know what happens when Kyle goes Jersey.
Right. Yes. So anyway, like, so we go have, you know, we go to the shore, and like Seaside Heights, they have it's, you know, big boardwalk, and like, okay, and you've all probably seen the video after like Superstorm Sandy and everything, with like where the
Like the Ferris wheel,
Yeah.
like got sunk in the
yeah,
water.
and like, you know, the you know, it's
Boardwalk Empire.
right, it's where it's all in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm talking about, like, you know,
that's
you know,
awesome.
and like, so that's.
It doesn't seem like that would be fun.
Is
It's
it
all
still
in the
there?
water.
Well, no, it wasn't at that point. in time.
Oh,
I mean, that
okay.
Ferris wheel through the water.
Yeah, I know. It's just
You
especially
gotta
when
hold
they,
your breath.
especially when they stop to let other people, especially when they stop to let other people on. Like, you gotta hold your breath, like, you know,
Cement shoes.
you know, it's like,
Oh, you mean when they let the next group
Yeah.
off?
yeah, like, you know,
Fuck.
you're
You survived?
He's
but-
here.
and all I
But-
got
so-
was this lousy T-shirt.
But so anyway, we went down there and had a good day, and everything was great. Yeah, like I said, you gotta cross a bridge, and of course, like, so we're crossing the bridge back over, and we've all been on the 3-mile bridge where it's a stalemate, and you're going nowhere for 5
Ever.
minutes at a time.
Yep.
Then you move 10 feet. Then you're going nowhere for, you know.
And you find out how good your radiator is.
Well, so apparently,
Did you have
We-
anybody who looked like Paul making you answer riddles to cross the bridge?
no. But so apparently, like, we're about 3/4 of the way across the bridge, and so traffic is starting to move again, and our transmission goes out.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
that's worse than
So
than
we
overheating.
managed to limp it off of the bridge, but obviously we can't go any further. And honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that, like, you know, Kyle and Laura were with us, like, we, you know,
Pushing.
like, you know, obviously, well, we, like, okay, well, we're just kind of stuck here, like, you know, New Jersey's not a big state, but, like, you know, it takes a good hour and a half to 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on traffic, to get anywhere.
It's beautiful, right? I mean, it's called the Garden State.
Actually, New Jersey has some beautiful parts.
No, yeah, wake it back on High Point, beautiful
You go
places.
to Delaware Water
Yeah.
Gap. You go
Oh,
to Mawa,
Yeah, no, you're right.
North,
There are some beautiful places.
Pine
Mo-
Barrens.
Most of it is like, you know, because Jersey is America's armpit. I freely admit that.
It's
Yeah.
where they came up with the name.
Well,
Jersey
Florida is
Barrier.
America's Wang.
You know, well, yeah, it's Florida, so I moved from the armpit to the wang.
You gotta
Well,
pay the troll toll.
He
Right.
came down here to get his 12
So-
minutes.
So, you know, we I don't, you know, again, this is the '80s, so there's no cell phones or anything. I mean, Dad wanders off, finds a payphone, and he's trying to call people. And finally, gets a hold of, like, you know, Kyle and Laura's, you know, parents. Like, okay, well, they're not coming home tonight unless you come get them. You know. So now we're already piled up in, you know, the station wagon because it's, you know.
The 80s.
With a fake wood
Yeah.
on the side.
Right. So now we have one extra person because he comes down in their station wagon, and we all pile up in, you know, and have to, you know, drive the hour and a half, you know, and it's. But yeah, that is like.
Wait, were you pulling the old station wagon with like
No,
ratchet straps?
like
as
we.
to-
No, we like.
and somebody's riding
Okay.
the brakes.
No, they left the old one.
We dropped it off at some mechanic or whatever.
Was this
you
your
know.
favorite vacation memory?
No,
or
this is
your
the worst vacation.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were
I
going.
would-
You're
this
from
is
Jersey.
His favorite
And this one
was
doesn't
the
even
baseball
involve your sister?
Hall of Fame, yeah.
We heard that one already.
This one doesn't even include your sister.
Well, she was there.
Oh, yeah, but we don't talk about her.
She's always there.
Yeah, unfortunately. But you know, but yeah. So that, like, you know, it was a great day right up until the transmission went out in the car, and so like the mom's like $75 win or whatever turned into like a $500 like getting the transmission fixed.
I do think
Yeah,
it's
that
hilarious
sucks.
that it was $500.
No.
Getting the
Yeah.
transmission fixed today is like $3,000.
Well,
No,
again,
no, and 150
$75 used to mean a whole lot more.
Yeah,
Or-
but 150 of
It
that was
equals
because the
the same.
mechanic wouldn't let you get the car back unless you had a new inspection sticker, and that was 150 of it.
Exactly.
Probably. Like, I don't know. I was like 9, 10
That's
years
the
old or
biggest racket
something.
up
You know.
there.
The last time I was stuck on the 3 Mile Bridge,
Oh,
it
Jesus.
didn't test my radiator. It tested my sobriety.
And your patience.
Had I taught my son how to drive a standard, I would not have been driving Blue Angels weekend.
Standard as in stick shift.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Manual.
I've heard it both
Manual
ways.
transmission.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Manual.
The
A
only,
standard.
the only good kind.
and on the TV behind us, after all of this talk about Venice, I looked up as Ferg was talking, and there was a commercial for Olive Garden.
We know you pointed out to all of us.
I'm pretty sure your Amazon system is listening right now. It's
No,
our biggest fan, I think.
This is live
actually.
TV. But that wraps us up. Does anyone have anything else they want to add?
Hey, get your T-shirts.
Yep,
I think
yep,
Bill's
yep.
going to tell us a way more interesting story next.
Yep.
So hang on.
Check out the menartalking.media.
It was really great
For all
having
your
Will
T-shirt
on this
action.
1 week.
It was great. Hopefully he's gonna be busy next week. Have to
Yeah,
go to a
I hope so.
prayer breakfast in Milton.
I'm praying for me and Bill.
Well, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill has to
I'm
build.
screwed.
Bill has to build a studio before that'll happen.
Yep.
I'm just praying for him to get that job at Circle K that he's been wishing for.
Well,
so.
Well, hey, fingers crossed. I mean, we can all hope.
Dreams come true, Bill.
I'm just glad the wife didn't call.
Well, didn't you turn
Yeah.
your phone off?
Shit. Whatever.
There's that. All right. So I was gonna add one little thing that I did not mention. When I was in high school, I would actually go to Quincy, Florida for the summer
Why?
because
The taint of Florida.
one of the only friends I grew up an Air Force brat. One of the only friends I've had who we actually moved consecutive
Like a pen pal?
bases. No, we actually moved consecutive bases. So we met when we lived in California, and then both our dads got stationed to Texas. So we, for an extended period of time, we were
What part of Texas?
Austin.
So what base did you finally get to?
What
with
is
him?
what
Third
is
base?
now?
No, I was in Corpus
What, no,
Christi.
what
and
is
Brent's,
now
here and there, so.
Bergstrom International Airport in Austin. Used to be Bergstrom Air Force Base. But,
See, Bill, that's how you tell a story.
yeah.
Oh, there's a road.
FYI, the flying cockroaches are back.
There's one.
Well, there's one, right?
Oh, well, we should probably just
So-
close this out then.
Yeah. So real quick, his grandfather was the equipment manager for Florida State's football team. So the summers, I would go to stay in Quincy, and we would work football camp for all the high school kids. They would have come in and practice. And one night it rained, and we were putting things away and slipped and got totally muddy as shit. And his grandfather's like, here, go shower, take these clothes. And he hands me some clothes, and just shorts and t-shirt. And then he goes, here, take these shoes, and they're Converse All-Stars, white. And I look down, and on the toes they say, Deion Sanders. And I put those shoes on, and I went home.
Do you still have them?
No, somebody stole them from me.
Like Dionne, like Dionne Warwick?
No, like Deion
Like
Sanders.
Dion.
All right,
Like prime time.
yes.
The guy who turned
Who, by the way, is the most overrated cornerback ever in the
the
history.
guy who
of-
single-handedly created the unsportsmanlike penalty for
that-
celebration.
The guy has like a career 4 tackles.
Larry with
Like-
Loney's now.
Oh,
Love Sweet Dog.
Yes. And on that note, we're going to wrap things up. I'd like to thank you all for participating tonight. And everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to The Men Are Talking.
Fuckity fuck.